Thank you very much, Madam Chair and members of the Judiciary Committee. Thanks to the sponsors who have been willing to step up on this important subject of redistricting. I want to also say a special word of thanks to Senator Metz, who played a key role in the lawsuits, one of two lawsuits in 2002 that led to a settlement in federal court in May of 2004. As some of you will recall, that settlement required the redrawing of 12, no fewer than 12 Senate districts to address problems in the gerrymandering, racial gerrymandering of a couple districts in Providence. And I'm testifying tonight in the hope that Rhode Island will never have to go through this process again. This was not the first time, and I hope it will be the last. That will have been the last time we go to federal court. You have the chance today to address one of the oldest problems in American democracy. You didn't cause this problem, but you can make Rhode Island a leader in solving it. In the last redistricting, since the last redistricting exercise, a lot of Americans across the country have recognized ways that partisan and racial redistricting have destroyed and damaged public trust in both state legislatures and in Congress. It's been very interesting that there have been a series of revelations from a Republican consultant named Thomas Hoffler, who explained how to manipulate the redistricting process and how that was used to turn over a number of state legislatures in 2010 and how damaging we now see partisan redistricting to be. I've given the clerk, and it's, I think, being passed out now, some summaries from the Brennan Center that address some of the current issues in redistricting, and I won't try to summarize them because I think that you can read that for yourself. But these are important cases, and we in Rhode Island should pay attention to them. I hope that here in Rhode Island now, we will go forward with significant redistricting reform in the way of a nonpartisan commission following the model of California. I want to just say a word quickly about how the process has changed. I was involved in watching and working on the redistricting in 1990 to 92 and 2000 to 2002, and it's impossible to overstate the changes that computers have made in that process going back to the early 1980s. I spent a lot of time reviewing the paper maps and acetate overlays from the 1982-83 round that, as you will remember, ended in scandal, in a tremendously damaging experience for the Rhode Island Senate, and that was costly to the voters and taxpayers as well. What happened with those early forms was that they had to draw the lines and then manually tabulate how many voters would be in each district. It was a tedious manual process. That changed. In 1992, the mapping computers came in. I remember going with Senator Charles Walton, who was a member of this committee, up to the little room up above the House lounge where they had the computers. And suddenly we could move a pin on the map, and suddenly you could see how many voters would be in that district. And it began to change the process as it had existed previously. But it was still tedious. And again, that changed dramatically as we came to 2002, and suddenly the consultant, Kim Brace, could deliver 3 sets of maps, completely changing all the districts. And it was really a problem for the voters, I think, because the districts could be changed so quickly. People couldn't keep up. And I think often ordinary people in neighborhoods can't keep track of where the lines are, and they don't recognize the motives that are sometimes in play in trying to shape the lines. So I want to say to you that in this language which is before you in 2077, it's reasonable language in terms of the selection of commissioners, how that process would work. Others, I'm sure, will speak to this. And the criteria for redistricting, which is something that I think we could have only dreamed of in 2002. The Senate was reluctant. So I want to recommend this process to you, believing that if you do this, you will improve redistricting for all time, for the state of Rhode Island. You will end the scandals which have occurred with such regularity in our history. And so I hope you will pass this and move it forward and let the voters act on it. I believe if you do, the voters will support this in overwhelming numbers. I'd be glad to answer any questions.